Are you really motivated to be here, like the second round, or you're feeling for someone else? Oh, okay. And so just you are the cheerleader here. Yes, even when you challenge them, that's a sort of support. Yes, that's actually true. Yeah. Ready, guys? But I must tell you that those who will be presenting next have lot of pressure, right? I think your friends have done tremendous job. I'm quite happy with the way the slides came up. The bit of research. So all those things. Obviously there is always further scope of improvement. But I'm glad. All three groups that presented today, and in fact yesterday also. I see that you have really captured that essence that I expected to do. So whenever you present something, make sure that don't make it too theoretical. Theory must be there. If there is no theory, there is it might be empty. Oh, I now see the reason for so many attendees. I forgot that this was the topic. Okay, all right. So most of your friends are here for the first half of the topic, pornography and entertainment. The stigma part, they just don't want to look at that. All right, guys. Without further delay, go ahead. Mic not working?
Take. Hello. Good evening, friends. Today, we are going to talk about pornography, a source of entertainment for some, addiction for others, and a social stigma in our society. But what do we really mean by pornography when we say this word? The dictionary meaning says it refers to the depiction of erotic behavior in a manner which incites sexual excitement. Well, does it? Simply put, pornography refers to filmed prostitution, where porny refers to a prostitute and graphy refers to the documentation. Starting with my personal experience, I started watching porn when I was in 9th standard. There are a lot of hormonal changes that you go through at that age. Lack of sex education, almost non-communication channels present to eliminate this anxiety and excitement. That is a point where our friends and the internet play a major role in eliminating this anxiety. Today, there are a lot of sexually explicit contents available on internet. It impacts our life in many ways. But two main ways in which it impacts our life is, first one, it brings along the violence and anger in our lives. And the second one is the male dominance and the female subordination. To elaborate more on my argument, I would like to share another personal experience. It was a tiresome day at my work. I reached home. My mother was watching a music reality show. After watching it for 15 minutes, I realized I was least interested in watching that show and decided to go for a shower. And wonder what was I thinking in the shower. I was thinking about the song that I would have sung had I gone for that music audition. A 15-minute of video that I was least interested in had impacted my subconscious mind. Now imagine a person who watches porn, let's say 15 or 20 minutes in a week. What kind of an impact is that going to make on his or her life over the years? Quite profound and deep, I believe. Watching porn over the years, I believe, makes us more like imitators and aggressive. We don't want to talk about sex in our lives. We just want to see it. We just want to see the pornography and never talk about it. That is the stigma that is present in our society. There was a time when hug, love, touch, kiss, these things used to arouse us. But today, if humiliation, abuse, seeing a woman or a teenager cry, if that arouses you, there is something wrong with us and with the society we're living in.
So let us discuss about how the evolution of pornography has taken place in Indian culture. In our Indian mythology, I will like to illustrate two of the examples which will help to demonstrate my context of saying. First, Kama Sutra. Kama Sutra, when we discuss about, the first thing which comes in our mind is the erotic stories, images. But is it whole thing? No. Kama Sutra is an interpretation of Kam Shastra, which is a Upanishad in our Indian mythology, which has 80% of its context in relationships, behavior, and how you behave with your beloved. It is not all about the images, the erotic activities which takes place. The second image is from Khajuraho temple, which is in Madhya Pradesh. Whenever tourists visit Khajuraho temple, the first thing he wants to see is the sculpture, erotic sculpture, and this all thing is being fed to us from our ages. But is it all the thing? Out of 10, one of the images is about the erotic sculpture. But how that selective perception over the ages has been fed to us? We don't see the other 9 images. Let me take you to one of the theories of our Indian mythology. We value 4 things for our life. First, dharma, duty. Second, earth, money. Third, calm, pleasure. Fourth, moksha, liberation. Where the problem started? Since in our mythology we have been given value to all the 4 aspects equally, where the problem started? The problem started when we separated calm from all the 3 activities. We value earth, money all the time, but we don't want to discuss about the calm, which is equally important in our society.
So, as my friend correctly said, that our Indian sculptures, our Indian literature, what they had sex, signs of sex there. But right now we are having a passive thought about sex. Why is that? So what we need to do, we need to trace the path that what happened, how sex has evolved in our society. Most of you must have a misconception that it has been embedded in our earliest societies. It was not right. Because as we see in the Vedic age, sex was a normal behavior. Just like you eat, you sleep, sex is a psychological need. What was the specificity of that period was sex as an entity was never mixed with culture. Culture and sex were 2 different things. Because of this, you can't judge someone on the basis of its sexual desire. Because of which, as one of my points I've mentioned, there was no organizations like RSS, Shiv Sena, who can say like, we are doing this because of the culture. Because culture is, sexual desires are inhibiting our culture, so this is the purpose we are removing that. After that, what come is the medieval age. The age where the concept of sexual desire actually changed. Why is that? This is the age where a male-dominating society has been created. For creating a domination over the opposite sex, you need to have some arguments. What were their arguments? They said that they actually connected the power of a woman with its sexuality. They said that woman had the power of sexually attracting its opposite sex towards itself. So what she can do is that she can influence the opposite sex and can lead to inappropriate behavior in society. So women need to be confined. One more interpretation was given like, women are more sexually active than men, so they are more vulnerable to get polluted by this act, and that would influence the society more. So we need not to confine the men, we need to confine the women. All these thinkings has led to a change in the perception of sex. After that, some more things happened. The Muslim invasion. Around in 1000 AD, a different outside emperor ruled India. That was the Muslim. They basically came from the Middle East, the Arabian lands. They had a different culture, different system. The system structure was a different one. And in that structure, the women enjoyed less right relative to the structure we follow, the Hindus follow. So because of that, what happened is that they had a dress code so that the woman can protect its purity, woman can cover its modesty. And a person and a woman, if will not be doing this like this, he would be linking it to sexual desire. Means if a woman is not is not appropriately dressed, he's arousing his sexual desires. So here, the sexual desire was more inhibited because it was linked to the dress. That a dress is need to be done in such a way that it covers the whole body. After that, the colonial era came. Most of us must be thinking that because the colonial era, the Western countries have come and they have a neo-liberalism thought about sex. This was not right. When the Queen Victoria headed when the East India Company was dissolved and Queen Victoria headed the Indian government, what happened is that they created a conception that barbaric people, uncultured people have open thoughts about sex. In a cultured society, open thought about sex was never a figure. One more thing is that the reform movements which has happened in India till now have worked only on the public sphere of women. Personal matters, personal sex after marriage, all that things were never addressed. So the stigma continued.
So later, human invention of internet has quite changed the world and how we look. We from connecting to people in any part of the world to how we experiment with sex. So the India climbed to the rank 3rd. In the statistics, we found that in the Pornhub's review that India ranked 3rd in accessing the traffic, ranked 3rd in the traffic that India access porn. Also, the age, here we can see that India, 51% of the porn is being watched between the age of 18 to 24. Average age is 30. Also, one more thing, porn is being accessed in Indian society during the top hours is from 10 p.m. to 1 p.m. The more interesting thing is that one more duration is 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. during the working hours. That is during the office hours. Porn is also being accessed in the society. One more next thing, it is not in our society that women do watch porn. The one more stigma, women watching porn is being seen in different lens. This raises one more taboo in our society. Women do not discuss with another gender openly about sex. 30% of the porn traffic from India is from women. That women accessing porn. So we know this image, Sunny Leone in Kerala. This picture she uploaded on her Instagram profile, and such headings is being made. How we can change if this is what we reflect? We accept her during day, but during night we show our double standards about the society, about her. So one more thing, if we can't respect them, how we can openly talk about porn being true in our society? This is a family picture she posted, and this is what people comment her. During day, we blame her for being polluting Indian culture, polluting our youth. But in the night, the same population search her as Sunny Leone hot. In 2014, after Narendra Modi, she was the second top search person in the world on Google search engine. Okay.
So we have already seen what are the staggering facts and figures regarding the amount of pornographic data being circulated in the society? So going forward, what are the implications on individuals, relationship, and society as a whole when an individual watches pornographic video? So according to some very popular studies, when an individual watches porn, his brain machinery kicks in, and which makes him demand more and more content of pornographic data, and in fact more hardcore version of it. This is the same way the mood altering drugs operate in. Talking about the effect on relationship, the viewing of pornographic data can leave a relationship into tatters, as when an individual, because there can be an unexpected rise in the levels of expectations from love, sex, and relationship, and this might ultimately culminate into a person having more stronger sexual demands from his or her sexual partner. This is the worst thing that can happen to any relationship. In fact, as per an American study, there is a direct link between infidelity and porn viewing. Porn viewing leads to, when an individual watches porn, he comes across multiple sexual characters, and which imbibe the desire to him to go out of his relationship and explore his sexuality. So talking about the effect on society, nobody can deny that there is a direct relationship between porn industry and human trafficking, because of which many innocent girls are being pushed into porn industry. So porn is not as harmless as we used to think, right? So going forward, what do we need to do given the thousands of gigabytes of pornographic data being viewed on internet every single minute? So the only solution out here is to break free of the stigma that revolves around the sex and sex-related issues. We need to stir more discussions about sexual things among friends, family, peers, and parents. This might be not very effective in eliminating all the negative effects of pornography, but they can certainly prove effective in limiting them. Thank you. That's what we have from our presentation. We are now open to questions.
Hello. I liked your presentation, but I had one question. During the first part of your presentation, you showed how women were not treated equally with men and all. But porn is one industry where women, for instance, the pay gap is not there, gender pay gap is not there, and females are paid more compared to men. So that is one industry where females enjoy a higher level. That is what I'm asking. Why did you compare the porn industry with the repressions that were done on women?
Hello. Hello. Actually, through that slide, what I want to tell is that.
Hello.
Hello. Hello, I am audible. Actually, through that slide, what I want to tell is that, first of all, sex was not a stigma in the pre-Vedic periods. So what has happened during the time, that what all factors has happened, how sex has evolved from not being a stigma to stigma in a society when our society is getting advanced. What should have happened is that if we had a fast which was so advanced that sex was not a stigma at that time, it was a normal behavior, then what should have been expected is that in this time is that it should have been liberal only. So for that purpose, I have showed that these all things have been done, like different kingdoms come, with them they brought different religions. With them they brought different cultures, and in that cultures, women stand at different parts. Because of this, I've shown all these things. It's not that right now I am saying that no equality is there. It's the past I am depicting. He wants to add.
You talked about the pay gap that is not there in the porn industry regarding that. See, that also reflects the double standards that are there in our society. That is, pay gaps are not there because the demand for women in this industry is so much. That is what we wanted to show, that porn is bringing in more and more of male domination and female subordination. Okay, so why is there no gap between men and women in the porn industry? That is because more and more men wants to see the porn, and the demand for the female porn stars is very high, right? So, yeah.
Doing it against. But it is not that they are doing it against their will, right? The famous porn stars, whoever, I mean, they are doing because they want to do it, and they have created a place for themselves where they are getting a very high pay.
I got your point, but nowhere in the presentation did we say that it was wrong or unethical for a woman to do or indulge in any of these activities. It's a personal matter. Making a porn, viewing a porn, that's totally a personal choice. We just wanted to imply what are the implications on individuals and the society.
So porn industry is already very blooming, and in porn industry there is dabbing based on the ethical origin of the persons. Like there is black, white, Asian. Those dabbings are there on the porn industry. So it directly derives those identity-based criteria, and it imparts us at the very vulnerable time when we are sexually aroused. So is it really correct for an industry to drive those motives of social injustice to our mind?
Social injustices...
Social differentiation, not injustice. Social differentiation in our mind.
I didn't actually get your point. You mean to say that whenever we're watching porn, we are aroused, and at that time they are showing different nationalities.
We are very vulnerable at that time, emotionally, ethically, and at that time we are exposed to the very differentiation on the basis of ethical origins of the person itself, like black, white, Asians. So as a society, is it right for us to have that in an industry?
See, that is your choice. I can't comment on that. Viewing a porn, viewing any nationality, seeing a black porn or white, whatever it may be, that is totally your choice. We just, you want me to comment from the porn industry's point of view. That is it right for porn industry to, show these kinds of videos? Is that right or not?
Is it right for us as a society to have this kind of categorization?
See, we're not talking about categories. We're talking about the porn industry as a whole.
Black porn or white, it doesn't matter. Why are you going on complexion of people?
So when we see in society, there is already debate going on that there shouldn't be any differentiation based on the origin of a person. Either is black or white, all are equal. But when we talk about porn society, there is already differentiation, and that is basically driven into us.
See, you are talking at a micro level and we are talking at a macro level. We are questioning the whole existence of the porn industry as a whole.
So is it right for us as a society to have some industry which is already differentiating based on the origin of persons?
See, you want to see it, that's why they're showing it. It's a vicious cycle.
That's why. Is there some solution that you could suggest? Is there some solution that you could suggest to remove this differentiation in the porn industry?
Hello. What I am saying is that you are saying like in porn sites there are divisions, like Africans are there. This doesn't mean that we are discriminating. This is a set of range of choice which is given to you people. You can choose from it. So this is not a way that we are discriminating that blacks are different or whites are different. This is not the case in any way. It's just that we want to widen the range of the choices that given to the customer, and according to their preference they can view it. Just like this and nothing more.
Same as Hollywood, Bollywood.
Hi. Like you guys said that right now in the society there's a lot of social stigma regarding sex, right? And pornography is something that affects the mindset of people on a very large scale. But don't you think that pornography or watching porn or maybe like that platform is actually making people more aware of the sex-related issues and whatever there might be? Isn't it opening the society more? That's what I'm saying.
See, we cannot neglect it kinds of helping in bringing the sexual awareness, but there are other means of achieving it too. We have a sex education program, and if we can make it better, then that would be more efficient.
Do you think sex education program in India is very...
We need to make it more effective. See, showing porn videos to the society is not the right way to address the problem.
Another thing is that making the society more aware. In the Western countries, this industry is booming much more than it is in India. But still, the crime rates are as high in Western countries as well as they are in India.
So, rather than a question, I want to have a clarification from you. So, do you actually believe what you said about the music thing you were feeling in shower? Or you quoted Ran Gavrelli, TEDx Zaffa word by word, or don't you?
No, I didn't quote it. He had quoted an example. But
exactly, you quoted him word by word. That's
the essence of the thing is that we wanted to show that if you see any video or anything that is happening around you, then that thing affects your mind, right?
So shouldn't be any reference to him, like you quoted some person, there should be a reference.
We could have.
I got scared because, I was suffering from some sort of inferiority complex that, does it really last that long? Right? I mean, come on. This is for quite some times, I had that fear that, there's something wrong with me, it doesn't last that long when I was that young. But obviously, I guess your friends are, are the source of your sex education, not your teachers, because we truly lack the system where we could, when our body goes through this transformation, there is no one that we can confide that, that we are feeling something different. Right? How do we really express ourselves, and get some matured, matured explanation and education? That is certainly not there in pornography. What we do, obviously, there is certain, I would say that, byproduct, of watching pornography, that, it happens this way, that, maybe it get aroused and all those things, that happens. But having said that, when I was a graduate student at Indiana University, one of my friends actually presented on porn industry. And we were allowed to even watch pornography during the presentation. Thank God that you didn't. Oh, I have no problem. But, maybe someone would report to the institute and all. And they focused on something, that one thing that most pornographic films are made from male's perspective. There are very few from women's perspective, even though there is a huge demand from women. Right, so that one thing, is not really addressed so far. Do women have also sexual desire? If so, and obviously they do, right? So in that case, so how to make that industry more, gender neutral in terms of also catering to the needs of both men and women, right? This is something that you need to also investigate further. Okay, thank you. Next group, please.